Hello, welcome to all of you. This is the panel discussion for people who are up for the award for Best International Narrative Series. We're almost full. We've got one person who's not made it through the doors yet, but if they come, we will all point at them, and then they can join in the conversation at that point. But we've only got about 45 minutes, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking. So I'll first of all give everybody the opportunity to introduce yourselves and the title, and then we'll dive into some more general discussion after that. Wayne, you were first through the door, so why don't you kick us off?
Hello, I'm Wayne Tunks from Sydney, Australia, and I'm the writer, producer, director, and one of the stars of River Tap That.
Give us the 2 cent tour.
So River Tap That is a mockumentary about two very average dance crews who battle it out for the yearly River Tap That Cup and the council officer who wants to shut them down.
All right, excellent. Okay, Sally.
Oh, hello. My name is Sally McLean, and I am the creator and director of Walking Shadows Volume 3. I also appear in that series, or an AI version of myself appears in that series. Walking Shadows Volume 3 is the third season of a Shakespeare project, which is a spin-off from my original series, Shakespeare Republic, taking Shakespeare's text and putting it into a 21st century situation. In this case, for the last season of Walking Shadows, it's putting it in the not too distant future when set in a dystopian prison which AI runs and where people are incarcerated for crimes, everything from murder right the way through to cross-dressing.
Right. Okay, Herman.
Hi, I'm Herman Wang. I am the creator of Illuminagents, which is a sci-fi comedy which uses real-world conspiracy theories to spin fun little 5-minute narrative episodes following the trail of a pair of agents who work for the organization that runs the world. It's basically a way to poke fun at conspiracy theories without being too mean about it, and hopefully just to give science fiction fans a bit of a fun watch.
Excellent. All right, Jennifer.
Yes. Hello, my name is Jennifer Monk, and I'm the creator behind Slightly Cracked, which is a trilogy of looking at women's resilience through the mental health journey, from past, looking at the future, and now to the present. It's based off real stories as well. We did a whole heap of interviewing. We spent 3 years writing it. And yeah, so I produced it, wrote it, and have a little part in it as well. And the same cast is in all 3 episodes, but they're very much different worlds, following one character, Nadia, the mother, who's going through postpartum and her journey through that.
All right. Stephen, tell us a bit about Deserted.
Thank you for inviting me today, Keith. Deserted is a little two-hander set on that we shot on Minjerribah, North Stradbroke Island, off the coast of southeast Queensland. It's about a man and a woman who survive a wreck of some sort. They're the sole survivors of this disaster, and it would be great news that these two people are not alone on this deserted island, except it takes about 14 seconds for them to begin rubbing each other up the wrong way. So it's a five-part little two-hander comedy.
Excellent. Okay. Morgan.
Hi, I'm the creator of Abracadavers season 3, and then on this particular season, 1/3 of the directing team and 1/4 of the writing team. It's a show about young adults that get superpowers, and in this season, they're brought together as a team to try and find a missing camper who's disappeared in an alternate dimension. As with all the other seasons of the show, they kind of find that their interpersonal struggles and relationships take precedence over the supernatural happenings of the show.
Okay, thank you very much. Lauren.
Hi, my name's Lauren Korber. I'm the producer of the comedy series My Dead Mom. It's about complicated adult mother-daughter relationships and the grieving process. We are based in Canada, in Toronto, and that's where the series was shot and produced. And the series was also just nominated for an International Emmy Award.
Brilliant. Well, fingers crossed and good luck. Shannon.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Shannon. I'm the writer and creator of Lady Ada's Secret Society. This is season 2, joining you at the New Zealand Webfest. And in this season, we go a little bit deeper into some of the reasons that women and girls drop out of the STEM field, but we try to do it with like a lot of heart and a lot of humor and just a few gallons of slime, just a couple of confetti cannons worth of glitter. So anyway, I'm also based in Toronto. It was just an absolute joy to work on this series.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you, all of you. We're all lucky in, as it happens, we've got a panel of Australians and Canadians. So both of you and us here in New Zealand, we're lucky enough to be in an environment where there is some government support for some kind of productions. It doesn't mean everybody here got it for their productions, but it's kind of a different environment. It's often a different conversation when you have it with Americans about how they've sort of put their money together for productions and things. But it doesn't really matter where the money comes from. It's never enough to sort of satisfy the ambition of people's ideas. So I don't want to talk actual numbers in terms of the money, but what was challenging for you on making your shows, and how did you find ways of overcoming those challenges so that good stuff ended up on the screen, regardless of the number of dollars that you had to throw at it? Can we start with you, Herman?
Okay. Yeah, my unmute button wasn't working there. Yeah, so my series is actually funded solely through my production company, so we don't actually have any of that nice government assistance. Our budgets, it's not, I wouldn't say we're low budget, but we're sort of in the middle, or we're medium to small. But yeah, I mean, the fact that we're working in Toronto gives us access to a big talent pool, fortunately. So, there's a lot of actors. There's a lot of people who know how to work behind the camera as well. So we put together a good team to do what we do. And in terms of how the money's affected our outcome, the main compromise is that we, our episodes are 5 minutes long, which it just, obviously it's, a 5-minute episode costs half of what a 10-minute episode would cost to produce. But I mean, for me, that's kind of the ideal sweet spot for web series, because, if you can watch one of our episodes while you're, after you've finished your lunch and before you go back to work, you can be like, I'll just pop in a quick episode of Illuminations. And you don't have to interrupt too much of your day to watch one of our episodes, which is kind of the nice thing. And another way we save money is just that basically I've learned how to do editing and special effects and camera work and all sorts of things. So I'm about 5 or 6 different hats on this series. So that definitely saves money, because I don't have to pay myself. But yeah, I mean, one of the things we do is that I have this thing where I don't have volunteers on my team. Like, everyone gets paid. It's not necessarily, union rates or anything, but it's above minimum wage. It's enough to make people want to come back. And and we just keep the team small by, I do about 5 or 6 of the jobs, and the rest of the people, they kind of take on, extra things if they need to, in kind of a nice team spirit. It's nice to see, and we have a really good team, and I'm really proud of what we've accomplished with the small budget that we have.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I would imagine that most of the productions rely to some extent on people's generosity. So it's good to hear that everyone's benefiting from that. Morgan, you said you were a third of the writing team and a quarter of the directing team, or the other way around. I'm not sure, but obviously that's a bigger team than Herman. So
Yeah, the other way around for this one. And this was bringing some people back onto the show from the second season. So I think as far as like our show goes, we try to spend as much time in pre-production and run into all our problems there before we get onto set. Because I think same as Herman, I do a lot of the visual effects, or like most slash all of them for the show, and it is a superhero, like a superpowers based show. So there's a lot going on. So we'd like to kind of treat the development and or script writing process of the show as like a bit of a creative playground where we can kind of do anything. But then talk about, well, what's the practicality of actually making this work? And then what that also means is that we'll end up being really meticulous about how things are planned during pre-production, so that once we're on set, we know we need this, and this piece, and that'll make the show happen. But then beyond that, we get to bring that same sort of like try anything, let's get creative mentality onto set, and it being a bit of a like oddball comedy show that lets us just add more bits and goofs and strange things, which is really how season 3 went. Also worth noting, we're a Canadian production as well. So from a budget perspective, we did make use of those nice government grants. This was a like CMF funded program through a program that I don't think exists anymore. But
All right, so you're gonna have to look somewhere else if you want to go to a season 4, then, aren't you?
yes, this is true.
Stephen, tell us about the challenges of Deserted, apart from desert islands.
Well, apart from Desert Island says much, Keith. That was part of the challenge. Was setting an entire production on a beach where you're slave to the vagaries of the weather and the waves, and the public who have every right to be there as well. But quite the opposite of Herman's story. We were very fortunate to have full support from our national funding body, Screen Australia, who gave us a very generous amount of money to complete the show. I think it didn't, it never feels as generous as you would love it to be, but it was sufficient to make sure that most everyone got paid, which I think is quite important to validate everyone's experience. But also we were very determined to give a lot of emerging filmmakers an opportunity on this. And we had about a half a dozen young people who this was, their first or one of their first jobs. And their energy on set was absolutely delightful. And including Nepo baby, my son, who's in high school at the moment, it was his first gig as well, as a production assistant. So it was a really fun opportunity. Not so much the weather. Our last day of shoot was very rainy, but I can't complain.
Lauren.
We didn't have any challenges. It was perfect. Why are you all laughing? Is that not believable? I mean, I think the challenges that we faced on this production are pretty similar to everybody else, which would be limited shoot time, limited budget, um, and trying to make it look amazing. We had an episode where we shot it at a mud run. So basically, we built an obstacle course with fake mud. So that was a little bit dirty. And in case anybody's wondering, yes, it stains. So, so was it a bad idea to hug people in that? Yeah, it was a bad idea. But yeah, I mean, I think that and similar to what Morgan was saying, is it's, with these productions that are shot on such a tight budget and such a tight timeline, it is imperative to get as many of the kinks out in post so that you can deal with things as they arise during production. In our case for this production, when we were getting ready to shoot, we found out that our lead actor was pregnant. So we actually decided to delay our production because we thought that it was really important to have her as our lead. So that was one of the decisions that we made. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Shannon, you're on the second season of your show. So what was different from the first?
Well, I can talk about budgetary constraints in a moment, but the first thing was between season one and season two, I became a mother. And in season one, I wrote about these really rebellious girls who did all this crazy stuff. And I was so concerned that in season two, I wasn't going to be able to fulfill that. But the more I got into it, the more I found, and especially with the situations in the world right now, rebellious girl stories are more important than ever. So I just tried to lean into it a little bit harder. And I brought on some other writers and I think it turned out pretty well. Um, but that was nerve-wracking, I admit. And then from a budgetary standpoint, I would say we just really tried to limit our locations so that we are essentially only shooting in two places, but the two locations that we chose really look like multiple locations. And the other thing we had to compromise on was pranks. In my perfect vision of the show, there would be fire, there would be explosions, there would be all kinds of crazy things. What we ended up doing was resorting to air. So it was like whenever there's an explosion or a prank, it's like it's usually air based. So it's like a confetti cannon or or an air dancer or something like that, or flapping objects that are controlled by fishing wire, or in a few cases, just goo dumped over the head. So that was kind of where we had to kind of like, okay, Shannon, dream big, but scale it back. Like, so.
All right, thank you. We've covered a range of things there. Does anyone who's not spoken to this have anything different to add? Sally.
No, I was just going to say it's amazing hearing all the stories. Walking Shadows is slightly different because it was commissioned. So it was commissioned by the Howard Fine Acting Studio here in Australia, which is the Melbourne studio, which is where I am. So it was working with students. So the first two seasons of it, we had a full professional crew working on it, which the studio paid for, including for me, which was lovely. And I'm very grateful that that happened. But for this last season, we actually had an entire student cast and crew. So I was the only one on set that actually had kind of any kind of background in it. So that was done because Swinburne University, which is one of our major film and TV schools here in Melbourne, wanted to get in on it and actually have their students trained on set with me. So that was great, crazy, great. But we had, apart from the fact that people got paid that were working in, myself got paid, and also our sound editor got paid, Sass Pinchy, who has worked on the series from the get-go. We actually had zero budget pretty much to shoot this. So that meant that we were in a small studio at the acting studio in front of a blue screen for this one. And I had to teach myself how to do VFX and all the rest of it to the nth degree, as well as mucking around. That's partly why we had to, our compromise was I had to tailor this last season for the budget. So that meant that's why it got set in an AI world. It was all done pretty much with VFX, but it was set in an AI world just to save costs. So I ended up doing all the VFX as well as all the editing. So yeah, it was crazy and I don't recommend it, is all I'm going to say. It was insane. I didn't sleep for about 6 months, but yeah. So this is sort of the other extreme end of, I guess, the process of people making stuff. Was we literally did what people joke about when they go for screen funding, which is, choose a cast in the one small location with a small crew. That's what'll get you the money. Didn't get us any money from Screen Oz, but we didn't go for any. But that was how it was made and put together. So as Herman was saying, you wear all the hats. And it's kind of nuts. But, good learning curve, but it's kind of nuts.
All right. Okay. I tempted to explore the area of AI, but I won't because it's such a big one to dive into. It sort of really deserves its own panel if we're going to talk about it properly. So in terms of making shows, everybody makes them for an audience. Nobody sort of makes them to stick them in the drawer. And let them gather dust. So I'd like to explore a bit about, kind of the audiences. Most of you are not on first seasons of a show or first project, so you've had the experience of doing this before, in terms of identifying the audience and how you reach them, and how you kind of go about that, whether you've learned anything from this particular show in terms of getting to the audience that you wanted. Morgan, do you want to start us?
Yeah, and I mean, I can. I'll say what's worked for us on other shows, only because we do have a great audience for this show and people are really into it. But it's always one of those things, right? Where I think you're right that everybody's trying to crack the code in one way or another on how do you get an audience and what works. And kind of what we found has ended up working is to sort of test the waters in a really low budget way before actually committing to anything. Where, I mean, it's a bit of a cliche at this point, but it's very easy to get out there and record anything on phones, and phones are built for social media platforms. So for some of our content um, coming out now and upcoming, we've been able to release videos and then see what the reaction is to those and see what people sort of gravitate towards, and then do more of that. Try expanding things from there, um, and that's worked. Where we're almost tailoring our story a bit to what people are interested in, as much as we're writing stories that are very personal to us or to me when we're going through things. But yeah, it's always a weird catch-22.
All right, Wayne.
For me, this is a one and done season, but done lots of things before. But I've been working in the mockumentary scene for a little while now, and kind of really enjoying that and trying to carve my niche out in that scene. And if I knew how to get viewers, I probably wouldn't be. Yeah, you throw it against the wall and hope that people see it and enjoy it and will tell their friends and share it. I think the key otherwise is casting a lot of people. We had a major cast of like 25. So hopefully if they can all get a certain amount of viewers, then more people will be talking about the show.
All right. Lauren, you've done a number of shows that have run through a number of seasons. So how do you go about building the audiences?
So it's really different for every show. I mean, in the same way that sort of like content kind of tells you whether it's like a feature or a web series or a TV series, it's the same thing that you've got to look at the content and figure out how best to reach that audience. So, with My Dead Mom, we tried to play on different areas there and that we touch on in the show. So, in the sense of her mom passed away. So we tried to target different grief groups and grief podcasts and stuff like that. So, trying to find our audience in areas where uh, there are common interests being discussed. And then, we tried to reach audiences in other ways also. Wendy and I are both recovering lawyers. The Wendy Littner, the creator of the series, who is immensely talented. And the lead character is also a lawyer. So we tried to play on things like that. Every show, we try to do something different and try to experiment. We do a lot of A/B testing, where we'll put up posts with different tags. Sometimes we'll try to put some money behind them and just try to see what works best for that particular audience. With My Dead Mom, we actually also went a little bit old school and we got a billboard in downtown Toronto and also in Winnipeg. So if anybody saw that in Winnipeg, that's awesome. So yeah, I mean, really, we try to look at the content and our audience and figure out where they live and how best to reach them. Um, so yeah, we do our best with whatever we can.
Okay, thank you. Stephen, you said that you got Screen Australia support for your show. Did that come with any strings in terms of the amount of effort that you had to put into promotion?
It came with effort in lots of different areas. Again, we were very fortunate. We applied through what was called the Online Production Fund, I think. Um, Very competitive. Unfortunately, there's, as much as the lovely people at Screen Oz would love to give all the money everyone wants to everyone, it doesn't work like that. So it was highly competitive, and one of the things that we needed to have in place was a path to market. When I first came up with the show Deserted, it really is just a little frippery. It's just two people having a gas bag on a beach. But we needed a path to market, and I was very fortunate that one of my good dear friends is a casting agent, and she represents a lovely young lady called Shuang Hu, who happens to have something like 8 million followers. So I was able to get the scripts to Shu, and she really embraced them, which was great. And I wanted to cast another of my good friends in the role opposite her. It just fell into place from that point. For me, though, it was completely new territory. My normal bailiwick is conventional television and shooting in conventional ways. So I came into it in a conventional manner, storyboarding, planning, making sure everything was in place. So maybe we brought something slightly different in that it was a very regimented shoot, which hopefully doesn't come across regimented and comes across loosey-goosey. But look, it was a really interesting journey for me to dip into the online space. It is really dynamic.
That's a polite way of describing it. Jennifer, do you want to share a bit of your experiences?
Yeah, well, Slightly Cracked was originated as a theatre piece with La Mama Theatre. So we already had a following, we've already got like a following from that. We had a 2-week season. And from there, though, I really wanted this story. I wanted more people to see the story, basically, not just the people that had come to the theatre. So that's why I decided to have it like adapted into a screenplay. So we actually haven't launched it yet. We're launching it off the back of this festival actually on the 24th of November. So we haven't, we're premiering, like I was kind of thinking, oh, am I going to, get a distributor? Am I going to try this? Am I going to try that? But there's been so much hype around it. And these festivals all year that people are like, oh, we want to see it. So I've decided to be like, okay, we're going to do it now. Like I said, off the back burner of here. We also like to try and work with different companies so that there's that pollination between advertising. So with Girls That Good, we like to tell stories that go unheard and unnoticed. So that's kind of we have a bit of that's our niche. And this is very much this was 3 years researching, interviewing and preparing. We wrote it through COVID when we didn't have a project. And then having the theatre piece as a live show. And now people are really keen to be able to see, well, how did you, adapt it into screen or film? So that's kind of our audience is kind of already there. But again, it's trialing hashtags, it's trialing different types of marketing because it's online, it's a web series. It's supposed to be seen online. That's the way it is. So that's our marketing strategy. Our lead actor as well, though, from the theatre piece. So I wanted to shoot it very quickly. Like we used some of the theatre space to film as well in one of the sections. But she got pregnant at the end of the theatre show. And instead of holding off, I actually went, no, we're going to shoot it quicker. So we had a couple of restraints on shoot day. I'd be like, hang on, we can't have you in profile because I can see a little bit of a bump. Actually, we had to change a few shots because I was like, oh no. And from one shoot to the next, it was like a month in between. And she did get quite bigger in that last one and we had to rearrange some shoots. But I really love a working mother. I think it's really important that we celebrate it. So I wanted to keep on moving. But yeah, it's a trial and error, I think, getting audiences. And, this is a piece on its own. There's no other seasons. Like it's very much a trilogy. Like it's the same kind of character in different worlds that this could be in. And it will be a standalone, but you sort of put it out into the ether and hope that it lands somewhere. And, you hope that your cast and crew will share it and everything. And even the production companies that I worked with. But I mean, we shot this a year and a half ago. and even one of the other production companies that it's with, like they sort of stopped tagging and sharing and things as well now. So it's kind of, as a producer, you just got to keep climbing that mountain and keep hacking away and just hope that it lands somewhere, like what Wayne said.
Okay. Anyone else want to chip in on that one? Go on, Shannon.
I would just say we had I think I did a lot of experimenting in season 1 that has really informed like our season 2 approach. So we, in every which way we could possibly attract viewers, I think we tried in terms of having a platform that already had a subscribership, and our cast, a bunch of them had, 500,000 followers on Instagram at the time when we launched. So it was just kind of like feeding them care packages of like, here's some things that you could post. And so that really helped. Actually, that was a huge boost. But yeah, I mean, it's always challenging because you don't have a ton of money. And so you can't just kind of like go paid promotion. But the other thing we're always chasing is we have a broad audience, which is like girls sort of like 9 to 14. And we have a niche audience, which is girls 9 to 14 that's already interested in STEM. Or already taking computer sciences, or like already interested in stuff. And so we're always chasing those sort of like super fans who will go like to their friends and go, oh my God, this is the best. So I would say those are the ways in which we're trying to like sort of build a bit of a following.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? No? All right. We've got less than 10 minutes to go, so let's move on to the probably the final question, and that's kind of partly, it's in two parts. It's where are you going next, and what is it about this project that you've got as a finalist here? What did you learn from that is going to feed into your future work? Can be a good thing, can be a bad thing, or it can be a good experience or a bad experience that led to the learning. But if you're going to take it forward, presumably it's not a bad thing that comes out of all of that. Sally, do you want to start us off?
Oh, goodness. Okay. Thank you for the difficult question, Keith. Where do I start? All right. I think starting with the second part of your question first, just to be difficult, so this Walking Shadows Volume 3 marks the end of 10 years of producing this work for me. I started in 2015 with Shakespeare Republic and have produced 3 seasons of that. We had Dark Arcadia that came out last year, and this is the 3rd season of Walking Shadows. There's also been a short film in there, Speaking Daggers. All of it has been Shakespeare's original text adapted for the 21st century. And probably, I'm going to say probably, because who knows in this world, this kind of marks the end of that phase. There are plans sitting there in very early development for Shakespeare Republic season 4. We are going to need money for that now. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I have no projects. Oh my gosh, that's crazy to say, but I have no projects at all on the horizon that are anywhere near ready to film. So I have my own script because I'm also a writer, which is really nice to be able to put my own words on paper or on screen, typing. That is got nothing to do with Shakespeare and is set in the current period of time, and yeah, is definitely going to be great to get back to actually doing my own writing. And back in the day when I was in London and working for the BBC and doing all that stuff, there's another project that has actually reappeared with one of my former BBC colleagues, but that's probably for television. So I don't know is my answer as to what's next. And what did I learn from Walking Shadows? Really, for me, it's what have I learned from the last decade of doing all this work. Walking Shadows was the culmination of that. And that's why it got commissioned, because, of course, I've been doing it for so long and it makes sense. What did I learn? I learned that making short form content, while distinctly different from making long form content, shares a lot of DNA. Everyone puts just as much heart, effort, preparation, professionalism, and all the rest into it. It has been a revelation for me to be working in this space. It's been incredibly freeing to work in this space, because the one thing that's very different is that you have less gatekeepers due to the way that it is actually put out there to the audiences. So that means that you get to play And I love that. And that's what I hope I can keep taking into my next lot of work, is that ability to play. Keith, as you know, I've said in the past, I called Shakespeare Republic the experiment, because that was the easiest way and the best way for me to approach the work, to kind of bring your A game, but take the pressure off. Walking Shadows has been very much an extension of that. Um, and yeah, and I've learnt that I can do an awful lot. And I think all of us on this panel working in this particular sphere probably have realized we can do a lot more than we thought we could. Because you kind of do, you have to stretch yourself to be able to meet that challenge and all the challenges that come up with short form. So that's what I'll probably take forward. I did actually answer the questions in the correct order, Keith. Sorry, but yeah.
Well done.
But yeah, that's my answer. And I'm incredibly grateful. I just want to say this. I'm incredibly grateful to the International Web Series, a Webfest circuit, for the incredible support that you guys show all of us, because this is really the thing when we get to connect with other creators. It is such a joy, because we don't often get to be in the same room, being from all around the globe, and not all of us being able to travel. So thank you, Keith, and to all the fellow festival directors for making this kind of thing possible, because it really is amazing to get the kind of feedback and also the connection that we get through these fests. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I mean, we wouldn't have a festival without the content, so we'll throw that one back at you, because it's all about the stuff that gets produced and delivered and shared. So, Wayne.
This was a really fun project for me, because I had the idea in the back of my head for like 10 years and it just seemed ridiculous. And then finally I went, I'm living in my ridiculous phase. Let's go ahead and make it. And I decided if I was going to make something this silly, that I wanted to do it with people that I loved and hadn't worked with for a while. And before I was making web series, I did theatre for a good many years. Both Sally and Jen were in shows that I've done over the years. So I just put a call out onto social media to my friends and said, who wants to be in this, and I'll write a role for you. And that's kind of how the script process went. And so it was just wonderful to have people that I literally hadn't worked with for 20 years on the set and getting to work with them again. So that was the joy of this project for me. And I hope that comes across when people watch that it's just a bit of a love letter to all the people I've worked with before, that we all got to be silly together. For me next, I've got another mockumentary planned. It's a short film, and I'm hoping two of my very good US actor friends are coming out to shoot it with me. I've written a film for them. So watch this space, and hopefully this mockumentary about a musical society will be with you sometime next year. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Lauren.
Hi. I've been thinking about this one. I mean, I think every production that we do, we learn so many things. You try to set yourself up. When something happens, you're like, okay, what can I learn from this and how can I do it differently? And then on the next production, something else unforeseen comes up. So, you know, go figure with that. Um, you know, it was amazing making this production. We had the most incredible cast and crew, and I would love to get back on set with them as soon as possible. So it just reinforced how much I love producing things and I love making content, from the production process all the way through to post and exhibition. Um, yeah, so guess that's an overview of Learn. And in terms of what's next, we're heading to the Emmys next week in New York City. So that's what's very next. So we're crossing our fingers on that one. This is the second nomination that the creator Wendy and I have had. Our last one was for a series called How to Buy a Baby, which is a comedy about infertility that came out a few years ago. So we're heading to New York, and then a week after that, we are also nominated for a C21 Drama Prize for New Form Series. So I'll be heading to London for that. So my fingers are crossed on both of those. And ultimately, we're hoping that it leads to an international sale, because we would love for our Emmy-nominated content to be available outside of Canada. Streamers, take note. Short-form content is high quality and amazing. And when you put it together, it's normally the same length as a feature. You heard it here first.
Thank you. Stephen.
It's really delightful to hear the word joy mentioned a lot when people are talking about their projects. And I would have to agree that this has been a very joyful process. My business partner and I formed our company. We both worked as hired guns for many, many years and took the plunge to make our own company. We decided to wait until there was a global pandemic to do that, which was really smart. But this has been our first formal production, Deserted, and it was so great to set the tone for the company with something where I think everyone who was on set, everyone who was involved in the process actually had a good time. And I think that kind of comes from the top down. I've certainly been on productions, and I'm sure you all have, where there hasn't been a lot of joy. You don't mind hard work, but you do like to get to the end of it where you go, I'm quite happy with that. Next off, we're filming another crime show here in Meanjin, Brisbane next year, another 6-part crime show. But what was great about Deserted was being able to do comedy again, which is my favorite stomping ground. So I'm really grateful to everyone involved. Really grateful, like Sally said, for the festival circuit that embraces this as a form now. So thank you all.
Thank you. Jennifer.
Yes, I really enjoyed working with my team this time, and new people. Like I feel like I've sort of found my work family, my work wife, my work husband, my work, all my peoples, and also sort of leaning into. I used to always think, oh no, I need to give other people an opportunity and things, but I'm actually really enjoying that, being on set with people that just know how you work and how to speak and just that shorthand. So I'm actually really excited about finding this dream team, and quite happy to celebrate that. Yeah, these are the people I'm going to keep working with, and not feel bad about, oh no, I'm not using these other people. I'm like, these are the people that I really like creating with, like what Wayne said with your friends, but people that are actually passionate about it as well. We also pay everybody in our sets too, but they do it because I think they like the story as well. And my next projects, I'm in pre-production for a short film, and there's a couple of other scripts that'll be going through like a creative development next year. But yeah, as a producer, I'm just looking at my big wall at the moment now. With about a month ago, I just sort of had to put everything out and be like, I just need to strip back, because sometimes less is more, and I want to sort of concentrate to be able to just work on a couple of projects at a time. But I also had to learn how to edit, like to hone my editing skills, because my editor pulled out last minute, sort of too far into the project, but also too late at the same time. So I had done an editing course, and then I just got into that. So that was something else that I got out of this, and I actually really loved it. It was like being in a rehearsal room at the other end, which is my favorite part. So yeah, that's me. That's slightly cracked in my journey.
Thank you very much. Morgan.
Yeah, I feel like there's a bunch of things that you were saying, just then, Jennifer, that resonate with me. And this is kind of my biggest thing that I've learned and am still learning. But like, as creators, especially on these kind of projects, I know I'm always like ready and willing to lend a hand wherever I can, and to put on another hat, and then another hat. So the biggest thing that I've learned is how to be conscious of, and also like respect my own mental health during the process. Because as much as I want to do everything and I want to help everyone, if I'm not able to like function in a meaningful way, I can't do that and support those people anyways. So finding time for myself and time to slow down when I need to, and keeping an eye on how I'm doing throughout the process has been my biggest thing, learning wise. And then as for what's next, we're actually like in the middle of releasing a totally different web series from Abracadabras. It's called Eyes in the Woods. It's on Out TV, and you can check out the pilot for it. It's on YouTube, I think, like right now for free. But we're kind of in the middle of that, and there's a bunch of fun adjacent things that are going on with that project that I'm still working on. Yeah, that's kind of it.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Shannon.
So I, in the research for Lady Ada's Secret Society, I came up with a lot of articles about how people misuse technology to the detriment of other people online. So trolling, bullying, scams, all of that kind of thing. And as I'm very much feel pretty locked into children's content at the moment, I'm working on a series called Monster Problems that teaches digital literacy skills for kids at that kind of age where they start going online without supervision, and trying to sort of teach them the rules of the road in a fun, accessible way before they're sort of confronted with those situations. So that's kind of that's my next thing. And that was kind of like, it just grew out of Lady Ada's Secret Society because we had a lot of similar themes: trolls, bullying. How do you like how do you preserve your self-worth in the face of FOMO and body dysmorphia and all of these beautiful, gorgeous, perfect images that are being fed to you all the time? So just trying to like help the next generation sort of like guard themselves against that a little bit.
Okay. Thank you. Herman, take us home.
Yeah, so this year for me has been a bit of a whirlwind. We've been supporting season 2 on the festival circuit, like at New Zealand, for instance, and so that's one sort of thing we've been doing this year. But at the same time, we've been shooting season 3. So between the traveling for the festivals and the days off I took for shoot days for season 3, I basically burned through all my vacation days from work. Yeah, so season 3 actually got completed around October this year. So that will be going through this cycle for 2026. So I'm really looking forward to that. The one thing that I really like to do, like I like when I travel to festivals, I always try as much as possible to attend the screenings, like not merely my own screening, but just to see the other things that that your peers are doing. You can learn a lot. You can kind of just you can assess yourself and kind of see where you're standing amongst your peers. It's a not in a like a harshly competitive way, but in a sense of friendly competition. What are my friends up to? What kind of what can I learn from the way they do things, or what things landed with the audience and what things didn't, and things like that. And so it's really a great learning opportunity that you can't get just from watching something in your own room. It's sometimes seeing the audience react to it and seeing how things land with them is really important thing to experience.
Okay, thank you very much. That's it, pretty much. Just time to say the goodbyes and the thank yous to all of you, not just for being here, but for the shows that you've created and for getting them into us. And good luck to all of you. You can't all win the award because there's only one. Good luck to all of you for the awards tomorrow. So thank you very much for being with us, and all the best for the rest of the journeys for all of your shows.
Well, thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Keith.
Thanks,
Thank
Keith.
you so much.
Okay. Thank you,
everyone.
Kate.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
And nice to see everyone.
Likewise.
Yeah.
You too.